Hello and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by award-winning director Brian Redondo and Savon Jones, aka Captain Vonnie. This is episode 138, and we're fixing the Oscar nominations by giving you our snubs for the major categories. We'll also tell you what we're loving. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Hello, gentlemen. Both of you are doing the hide my play call face into the microphone.
I'm just trying to do the
Jalen Brunson
Selly.
Yo, someone asked him about that like in a post-game show, like, oh, what's that celebration mean? And he goes,
You don't need to
gotta know.
You don't need to know.
He said, you don't need to know. I was like, oh, is this going to be like come out as like being really inappropriate at some point?
I think it's very inappropriate. I think it's either cocaine or it's sexual.
Yeah,
or
it
both.
Seems kind of sexual. All right. It's crazy. Sav, you're doing a great job of not twirling, your hair in the
Yo, your
the
hair
reels
looks good,
this time.
Savon.
Yeah, the twists are looking
I was taking
sharp.
my hair down. That's two completely different. I'm not doing this with you.
The commenters really called out Sav for doing that in the middle of the the
Yeah,
show.
he recognized. Hey, man, gotta get.
Yeah, shout out to Chill.
Gotta take.
He knew.
Yeah, he knew. I gotta take my shit down. Sorry, y'all don't have y'all. Sorry, you don't gotta take your hair down, but.
We do not.
My
no.
sexy takes a
we
little
got
work.
this fluffy, straightish
take
hair.
it up. I'm take it up.
Like, next time you have to take your hair down, you'll know why. It's like once you do it, you gotta start. You gotta keep going.
So let me start this one off by saying that the next show, or maybe in two shows actually, we're gonna be looking at Mr. and Mrs. Smith on, I think it's on Amazon Prime. So if you're trying to get ahead of the game and make sure that you're not hearing any spoilers, in a couple of shows, we're gonna talk about that. So check it out, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, featuring Donald Glover and I don't know,
Maya Erskine.
Okay, Maya Erskine, great. I'm glad you saved me on that one.
15, and she's also the voice in Blue Eye Samurai of the main character.
Yes, that's right. So we'll be checking that out. We'll see, can they recreate the magic that Angelina and Brad made on the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or is it going to take a completely different vibe? It was pretty magic.
Really?
I don't
remember it very well.
Oh no, it was good. They had a great like flirty relationship. It was good, and then it led to many years of marriage,
a lot of adopted children,
and then a pretty ugly divorce and separation. So that's all good.
Bravo to them.
Yeah, we just recapped the past 20 years of white culture, so you're welcome. We wanted to talk about some Oscar news lately because we got some Oscar nominations come out. It comes out way early. The Oscars are not until March or something like that. So we're just talking a little bit about the nominations, not about necessarily the winners or anything like that. But we wanted to put our own little twist on it, a little lemon zest on it. So we wanted to talk instead about what should have been the nominations for these categories that the Oscars or the Academy, whatever they're called, they completely missed it. We here at Confidently Wrong, we know what's up, right, Brian? We know what's going on.
They should just put me in charge of the Oscars, really. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like,
no need for voting.
Clearly, there's somebody with the knowledge and the credibility that could just make these choices that nobody could argue. Nobody.
This is where we're going with this. So we're only going to talk about three categories: Best Picture, Lead Actor, and Supporting Actor. We are not going to separate the actor categories into men and women. We're just gonna throw them all together into one big pile and say like, you're the winner. You're the winner here.
To hell with their gender norms.
Exactly. So nominations for Best Picture, we've actually already done this because this was part of the Confidently Wrong Awards. So as a review, I picked no movie. I didn't think last year was a particularly strong year for movies. So you got to hold the bar at, hey, this is where you got to get to be Best Picture.
You're still copping out on this one. You're
still copping out.
Like, you're just saying like,
you fleshed out this segment and then backed out on it.
What are we doing?
At least I'm honest about hating award shows, about the whole premise. I don't talk about award shows and then bow out of giving an answer for something that I wanted to be a part of. At least I'll just say there should be no award shows, but you're the worst version because you do like a half-ass cop-out. You cop out of the cop-out.
I don't think this is a cop-out. I'm setting the bar.
It totally is. By like every measure, everyone's like, "Oh my god, this was a great year for movies. Movies are back." And
well,
Wes is like, none. No
to be
movies.
fair, we're mostly talking about like the kind of movies that we talk about on the pod. So we're not including something like Past Lives, which is something I do want to check out, or American Fiction.
We're not stopping you. We're not stopping you from saying that's your favorite movie.
Yeah.
Don't put this on us.
Why are you creating this?
No, that was the parameter Brian said. He was like, let's keep it on the things that we talk about. That way, it has a focus. Otherwise, we could just, we're just, hey, let's stay in our lane. That's all. I agree with that. 100%.
Even in our lane, there's good stuff.
Well, tell us, Brian. Remind us what was your best picture, pick?
Obviously, the Oscars missed out on this because they keep relegating animation to its own like island of a category and shan't
Misfit
touch
toys.
the great things that are in the best picture nominee list. And of course, it's Across the Spider-Verse. This is the best movie last year. Come on, like everybody knows it. Everybody.
It needs an ending, though. It doesn't have an ending. You can't be a movie without an ending.
Who is this man? It ended. Okay, he's in the wrong universe. It ended.
All right, Sav, remind us, what did you pick for your best picture?
I picked Barbie because everybody went. It put butts in seats and it made a lot of money. Notice how even if you don't agree with my opinion, I'm giving an opinion. I'm naming a movie. I have a picture that's best. Is it the perfect category or perfectly rationalized? Maybe not, but there's a logic and it's there and it's something.
Thank you for leading by example.
I do what I can because someone has to. Because this jabroni over here.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next category. So this is, again, we think, these are our nominations. Had we been in charge, this is who we would have gone with, because the Academy clearly favors these very like moody pictures or esoteric films, Poor Things. Have you seen the trailers for this? I haven't seen the
I just saw it.
So.
It's fantastic.
Oh, it is fantastic.
Great movie. Go watch it.
I was about to knock it because it did look a little silly in the
It's hilarious. It's so funny.
All right. Maybe it's something I'll need to check out when it comes to video or streaming. Lead actor. We can go men or women here. I'm going with, and this is kind of a throwback because it's hard to remember this movie came out last year. Rocket and Bradley Cooper in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The heartbreak and moments in that movie, especially around Rocket, were phenomenal. They hurt me in my heartstrings. What a great performance. I'm totally sold on the Rocket Raccoon, Bradley Cooper. Sav, who's your lead actor of last year? The Academy just missed this. This is wrong.
Oh, Chris Pine for Dungeons and Dragons, straight up. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons was my D&D was my sleeper hit of the year. Not enough people saw it. It was such a well put together movie that you don't have to be a D&D fan to enjoy. But It was such a breath of fresh air. It was just like, I think just a promotion, and just, I don't know, maybe they didn't promote the movie, or maybe just the premise doesn't like drag people in because you hear Dungeons and Dragons. But Chris Pine was amazing. Him playing a gruff, rough and tumble, down on his luck, scam artist, bard, heist master was
perfect
such
casting.
I just was like, Chris Pine, okay, I guess, and he just knocked it out the park on his role. He was funny. He was very thoughtful and intelligent. His comedic timing was great. The way his character just oozed charisma, the way a bard would, rolling a nat 20, just really elevated the movie. And just his actual chemistry with the rest of the cast was top tier. Him trying to gas everybody up. He has this rough and tumble group. Them saying, "What do you do? I'm the plans guy." And people don't take him seriously, but he's actually super effective. And just the relationship he had with, his barbarian friend, who's like not his lover, but surrogate parent to his child. His story stuff was compelling. Chris Pine just did really good in a movie that I think set him up for success, but one that if you look at his past work, you wouldn't immediately think, oh, this is a role where you're really going to see him thrive. and he had a lot of range and talent that I think his other roles don't let him flex as much. He is way funnier than people realize, and his like that is a funny dude. He needs to be in more, not necessarily comedies, but like he needs roles that let us show, hey, this dude actually is hilarious when you give him something to work with.
I love that Nat 20 sounds like it's drug talk, like dime bag.
Yeah, but you know what a Nat 20
is?
It's
really just D&D talk.
Yeah. For our viewers.
Yo, Chris Pine, I was sold on Chris Pine in Star Trek as Kirk. He was really funny in that as well. Like, they gave him a lot of quips to say, and I think that grated on some people because they're like, Kirk wasn't like this, but like he made it his own. I really enjoyed it. I thought phenomenal job there. He got a little bit of that in Wonder Woman, but for sure in D&D and Dungeons and Dragons, it was very hilarious and perfect.
Him doing it as a lead,
tone of that
him
movie.
doing it as a lead was what really made it better. But you know, I mean, I have my own feelings about those Star Trek movies, but yeah, he was cooking.
Wait, tell us what?
No, that's a whole nother podcast.
They're pretty innocuous. What kind of feelings do you have about
this? Like in the worst way, though. You know what I mean?
Kind of like,
oh,
yeah, exactly.
I really like that first one. The ones after that were kind of.
I just felt like Star Trek was never an action series, so making it into an action series with the movies kind of like, to me, didn't win over what made
it. You're a purist.
No, I'm not a purist, but it's just like a.
What makes it?
It was a tone. It was like a tonal inconsistency of this feels like this should be a Star Wars movie, not a Star Trek movie.
Well, funny because J.J. Abrams directed it, and then he then went on to do the Star Wars ones. So, he found his niche. Thank you for spotlighting the fact that, these lead actor, supporting actor categories often don't feature comedies. So,
yeah, man, the Academy Awards.
I love that.
They never know what to do with comedy. Like they're totally missing the ball. Comedy is the hardest thing to do, and so should be praised at the highest level.
It's just so subjective.
That's why I got to give this nom to Jennifer Lawrence, J-Law herself, in No Hard Feelings.
Katniss Everdeen.
I finally saw it on Netflix. She really commits to the bit. Like, she gets punched in the throat. She she's like goes skinny dipping and then like gets into a fight with some teenagers and she's got to put a hurting on them and no body double, right? She's just like legit naked on the beach punching kids. And it's hilarious. And she just goes 100%. And hats off to her. Very commendable. Wonderful. She gets
wonderful. All the superlatives. All right. That's the lead actor. That's who we think should have been in there. I don't know what they nominated. That wasn't it. Supporting actor. We've also made this category way better, I think, and more accurate. So, supporting actor. Wow, Brian, I really like your nomination. Okay, but I'm going to do mine. So, supporting actor, to me, someone who just brings just a total commitment to their role, supports the story, is believable, and someone who did that just extremely well and kind of almost made the main character look bad because of how great he acted. Jeremy Allen White in The Iron Claw put on a performance. He wasn't in every scene.
Is that a commercial, Iron Claw? I think I had that at a few parties.
That couldn't even win Best Picture for you?
That should not win Best Picture? No. Because unfortunately, I feel like Zac Efron was good and better than I thought he was going to be, but I didn't think his performance was amazing, and kind of brought that down a little bit for me, just a notch. So Jeremy Allen White, the same guy who's in The Bear as the main chef, was also in The Iron Claw, and terrific performance. Wasn't in every scene, but just really dominated the ones that he was in. So I love seeing him there. Supporting actor, that's how I think we should go there. Sav, who's your best supporting actor? You want me to come back to you?
Go ahead.
Do you still think?
Y'all know how. Y'all know I just don't believe. Y'all know I don't believe in award shows. Can I give it to Ryan Gosling? Is that unfair?
No.
Oh, he actually has the nomination
for supporting.
So they got it right on this one. That's what
I thought he was hilarious. Like, it sucks that a movie that is very much about the woman experience, especially in America, and how these gender roles can sometimes have people being relegated and not get proper representation or credit, was very valid. But on that same note, Ryan Gosling, anyone who saw the movie know that Ryan Gosling stole the show with his character, and Ken was effing hysterical. The musical notes, the just how melodramatic he is, the obsession with horses, the brewski beer me like one-liners for days. I thought I've never been someone who I never disliked Ryan Gosling, but I've never been like a big fan either. I'm just kind of like, oh, he's this attractive dude people really swoon over. And I had a lot of respect for him after watching Barbie. I just thought he was just no other way to put it, just to put it bluntly, he was funny. He had lines that just made me laugh out loud multiple times from top to bottom. And I have to give credit to that because I did not think he would be one of the funniest parts of the movie. I was like, oh, Ken, okay, cool. He'll be a little thing. And he was hysterical.
Brian.
I'm going to give it up to a legend in the game who proved it in this supporting role, Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne Batman in The Flash. Like, just like he gave such like graveness to his situation of being this old man trapped in a house for God knows how long, making spaghetti, but still ready to suit up and play Batman in like all of that like Tim Burton glory, while also being a mentor to the younger Flash. And I mean, every moment on screen that he had is just like, this guy is so magnetic. He's hilarious, but he's also serious at the same time. Like, that is hard to pull off. And, you know, it's just a reminder, like, this guy, they don't make him like they used to, basically. Like, he is like one of those like Hollywood stars that, man, you're like, just wish we had more of that.
See, this is like all-star voting, and you know, team success is part of the all-star voting process, and I did not like that movie, and so he gets downgraded to me. He just, you know, for that.
It wasn't bad.
It's like Wemby on the Spurs. Like, you're doing great, man, but I don't know if you deserve an all-star nod this year. Your team is not good.
What the hell is wrong with you?
It's like that.
You know, I like when it comes to sports, I'm kind of with you on that. I think winning counts a lot, but like when it comes to movies, you know,
so the Lakers get one all-star, right?
Is the writing, like,
hey, so the Lakers get one all-star, right? And F it.
Yeah,
I guess the Timberwolves should get 3, right? And hell, like if we're just doing that, F it, Boston should get 3.
It's a sliding scale. It's a sliding scale, Sav.
Hell, the Pelicans got a positive record. We should get 2 more than the Lakers. Like, what the hell is this? Your argument falls apart.
Who's your 2? Zion and BI?
No, definitely not Zion. BI.
No.
But F it. If we're just saying team success, F it. Let's just give it to let's just load up the roster with all the people from the winning teams. I'm just being critical of your criteria because it's trash.
I think team success is part of it. That's all. It's part of it. It's a small part.
You're wrong.
You think I'm wrong? It's totally individual.
It's the all-star.
I think it's a deciding factor between like 2 tied candidates.
I put it. Yes, I'll give you that. Yeah. Yes, I'll concede that.
Okay, all right. That's where I'm at. With it. I don't think it should be everything, but you know.
You said Wemby shouldn't be an all-star.
Damian Lillard over Jalen Brunson. What
travesty.
The hell?
That's a travesty.
Travesty.
Hey, they're winning. They have one of the best records in the league.
It's true. It's still travesty.
Jalen Brunson.
It's not tied. They're not tied. Individual performance not tied there.
All right. Yeah. So what's next?
All right. We got our What We're Loving segment.
Oh, snap.
So that was the Oscars. Done.
I'm on the record still saying award shows shouldn't exist.
Post or pop the champagne.
We fixed the Oscars. You're welcome, Academy. All right, let's do What We're Loving. We got 3 things to bring to you today. Brian, I don't know if I understand yours.
Do y'all have 3 things? Look, y'all had a list.
I'll explain it. Those are talking points. That's not a list.
Okay. I was confused. I was like, what are these different things? What is this about to be? They're loving a lot of stuff.
Let's start there with Savon. What are you loving this week, Savon?
Tekken 8. A new challenger appears.
That's the correct pronunciation.
I mean, that's just how the crazy, like, ridiculous Japanese announcer says it. Tekken 8! New challenger!
Just slurred all of Japan. I love it.
Oh my
Keep
God.
going.
That's how to do it. Okay, fine. Whatever.
You're fine.
Whatever. Point is, Tekken 8. I've been.
He wasn't like Tekken 8.
Yeah, I was like, that's how the dude say it. That's how the dude say it. Look, Tekken is a fighting game series. I've been playing Tekken for probably over 25 years at this point. I've been playing since I was a kid, since like Tekken 2, Tekken 3. Really popular fighting game series.
So shouldn't they be on Tekken 25 at this point?
No.
Wait, so you were playing Tekken as a 4-year-old?
I was playing Tekken 3, definitely.
That's a lot of violence.
I was definitely playing Tekken 3 in like 98, 99 for certain. So I would have been like 5, 6-ish.
This dude was wearing hugs, beating people
my
up.
My uncle had at my grandma's house, my uncle had his PS1, and me and my brother, when we were over there, we would play the PlayStation, and he had Tekken was one of his games, and we would play Tekken 3 on the PS1, and we would just be, fighting and shit. Shit was dope.
What is there to like about this one? Because I mean, they're on 1 million. Tekken number 1 million at this point.
8.
The last one just came out like 2
years
ago. Why should people get this game?
Well, first of all,
Street Fighter had that rogue mode. What about Tekken 8?
So Tekken doesn't have that mode in the same sense, but Tekken's biggest selling point is that, one, it's known for a very big roster. 32, like I think it launched with like 32 characters. And Tekken's really big selling point compared to a lot of other fighters is that it's a 3D fighter. Not 3D in terms of the actual characters, but 3D in terms of your plane and dimension of movement. So unlike Street Fighter, where it's a 2D fighter, you don't do any side steps. It's just y'all going head to head like a Mario game where it's just you going left, right. Tekken is like full 3 dimensions. You can sidestep. You can move around with the freedom of movement like you would in real life, almost like if someone was in an actual like fighting ring, right? Like if someone throws a left hook or a right hook, you can step left or right to try and dodge it or get out the way or just maneuver yourself. So that part of why the series is popular, because it lends itself to just a lot of freedom of movement, which means just more cinematic gameplay, more cool moments. There's blocking a kick someone threw at you, and there's completely sidestepping it because you saw it coming. So
for listeners at home, you should have seen what Sav just did.
I yeeted myself. I did a little dodge, did a little So
it was good.
Yeah, so
I got the full picture watching that. I know what he was going for there.
And Tekken's also popular for like a really colorful cast where they have all these characters. They all speak their native languages. So you have characters who are speaking French.
Can you do them for us?
Is one in binary? Is there robots?
Yeah, there are robots, yes.
Do they speak in binary?
No, I think they're just speaking weird noises, but sometimes there's subtitles. But you have the French character speaking French, Japanese character speaking Japanese, Russian characters, the Peruvian character. Yeah. So really fun to have that global cast, lots of fun stuff. And then because they base it off of so many fighting styles, the big thing with Tekken is that the characters have very, very large move lists. I'm talking hundreds of moves for some, like over 100 moves for most of the characters. So it is a hard, challenging game to pick up and master, but it lends itself to very fun gameplay because there's just so many combinations of moves you can do. It makes it harder for newcomers because there's just such a lot of knowledge checks that you need to be good at the game. But much like Street Fighter, Tekken has gone a route of introducing a simplified control scheme that for someone who's maybe never played a fighter before, they can access some key moves to be able to hold their own in a fight. So, for example, Wes, say you were to play Tekken and you've never played Tekken before, there's a control scheme that'll let you, instead of having to do a long sequence for a combo, you can press triangle a few times and it'll kind of like auto combo a little bit.
Oh, that's my jam.
Or
let's go.
If you want to do a certain type of...
It's like intelligent.
Yeah, or if you want to do like a certain type...
control.
Or if you want to do a certain type of throw, rather than have to press a unique button sequence, you can press X. It's simplified to where someone can still... And you still got to do Tekken stuff to like win. It's not going to play the game for you, but it makes it to where you don't have to be a fighting game expert to have a good time playing the game. And much like with Street Fighter, they've really fleshed out their tutorial mode so that people can just learn how to play these games. In general, fighters are in a new era where, hey, we need to make this game something that people who don't play fighters can pick up. How do we do that? Tekken went a similar route of Street Fighter, where they have a much better tutorial mode and just explaining the game's mechanics, but also a simplified control scheme so that you might not know how to do the complex combos this ninja character has, but dumb down the controls and you can at least see a lot of really cool, fun, flashy moves, which even if you're someone who plays these games casually, you'll have a good time doing so.
All right.
So it's good for the noobs, but what about for the old heads like you?
It is more fun.
What's new?
Yeah, so in general, huge cast, that's always a big factor. The huge cast just lends itself to fun gameplay. Lots of characters got moves either modified.
He's only going to play one character, though, despite that huge cast list.
I'll play a lot of people. I'll play a lot of people in
Tekken. Your character?
I just need to notice now. I'll play the wrestler in any fighting game ever. So I play. Have you heard of King, the Mexican wrestler with the jaguar mask?
With the
I play him,
and he's got like the Adidas pants.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking. He got that one of his. He got the track pants. I play the wrestler. And I spend my whole time grappling people, pile driving, slamming, throwing, all that stuff. There's a few others I play too. But he's my best character. But they did flesh it out to where it's more accessible for new people. In general, the game is in balance to be much more offensive than defensive. Older Tekken sometimes can be guilty of defense being so important that its high-level gameplay is technically good, but boring to watch and not as like just entertaining just to watch as like a spectator. And they added a new like heat system mechanic where you have a new bar that basically can give you an offensive boost and kind of be able to press your offense on other players. So in general, it lends itself to a much more aggressive style of play against other people, which, you know, Tyler and I were doing some sparring and playing the other night, and it's a very fun system that lets you just do cool, flashy shit. And straight up, when you're playing a fighter, you want a good game, but you also want something that's fun to watch. And I think that, like, for example, Wes, if you were to just watch a Tekken match or me playing some Tekken ranked, I think even if you didn't know what was going on, you would be entertained just by the production value of the game, the graphics, the stages, the music, the fighting styles, the more dynamic angles when you do a special move. So it's fun to play, but I'm always in the camp that fighters need to be fun to watch as well. And this Tekken's doing a great job of that, along with being more accessible. It's a hard game to pick up, but it is I'm having a lot of fun with the game.
Well, I'm glad you went there about it needing to be fun to watch, because I've seen your Street Fighter clips from the last game, and you know, it's nice seeing your 3 moves over and over and over again. But
you're just a dum-dum.
It's the slap, it's the jump up and pile drive them. Okay, 2 moves.
2 moves.
The 2 moves that you do over and over again. But
there are
that's
4
not the point
different
of my question.
variations.
That was
running
mostly
the pick and roll works over and over. You just keep running it.
That was mostly just to bring up this you know, criticism of Sav. But I do have a real question, which is, if you just had to rate them numerically, grade level or whatever, where are you putting those 2 games next to each other? Is it like a 90 for Tekken and a 90 for Street Fighter? Are you splitting it up? How's it compared to each other? I know they're a little bit different, but you know, they're in the same genre.
This Street Fighter 6 was my first Street Fighter, to be clear. I've been playing Tekken, like I said, for pretty much my whole life, so I'm always going to prefer Tekken to Street Fighter. That being said, they're both great games. I think that they're both reward skill in a lot of ways. Like, they're not.
Give us the number. What is the number?
I mean, I think Tekken. I just think straight up Tekken's better than Street Fighter.
Man, come on.
I mean, I think Tekken's better than Street Fighter, point blank. I think the 3-dimensional plane lends itself to just more fun and cool gameplay. Rather than having to block back to not get hit, being able to sidestep, roll, do all these other maneuvers just means, like I said, there's been many times where I'm fighting Tyler and I will throw a drop kick at him. And rather than block it, which is all you can do in Street Fighter because it's 2-dimensional, he reads it and just does a hard sidestep. Or he does a sidestep with a kick built in. So I'm flying through the air and all in one motion, he's sidestepping while also kicking, and that might be the winning hit. That's just a certain type of hype that Street Fighter can't give. But I do think both games probably require the same amount of skill. And the skill expression in Street Fighter is very high.
Still doesn't give us a number.
Because I'm going to explain but I mean, I just think I don't have a number. Tekken's better than Street Fighter. Like, there's nothing else I can say.
Okay, all right.
If I told people what game they should get into first, I would say Street Fighter might be more accessible. Tekken is a better game to play.
Great.
Savon's not going to be boxed in by your rigid standards.
All right, keep sending more Tekken clips to the group chat. So
I will watch my.
As long as it's not the same move over and over.
Tekken characters have my wrestling character has like 200 moves. I promise you won't see the same stuff.
File driver. All right, I'll do mine next. What we're loving this week. I'm not that far into it, but I kind of previewed this on last show. Slow Horses. It's a show on Apple TV Plus. It stars Gary Oldman, of Commissioner Gordon fame, also from Book of Eli. And you were talking earlier about they don't make them like they used to. Man, Gary Oldman might be also that, right? Just phenomenal in pretty much everything he does. He's a chameleon. He can be whatever like the role needs him to be, as long as it's, an older white guy or middle-aged white guy. He can be.
He can't be a black woman, huh?
No, he can be miserable. He can be. He can be kind of dark. He can be light. So he's got kind of a pretty big range about what he can do. I didn't mean this to turn into a Gary Oldman love song, but.
Well, you're not singing it, so
this show.
He can be
old. He can be amazing in everything he does. It's a series on Apple TV Plus. It's 3 seasons, I believe, so far. I'm still in season 1. Me and Jen are watching it together, so it takes us a little bit longer to get through it because we just, with 2 kids, apparently you don't have as much time for TV, especially not at the same time.
So what you're saying is you watch in 1-minute bursts.
We watch in like 10-minute bursts. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, we got some time. They're both taking a shit right now.
No, are you kidding me? If they're both taking a shit, that is go time. That is not sit down and watch TV time.
Oh, that's a 5-alarm fire.
Yeah, exactly. There's the premise of the first season is kind of that there's these bunch of like CIA rejects, but they're the British version. So MI5, they're these MI5 kind of fuck ups, and they got housed in this one station together with Gary Oldman as their chief or their leader or whatever, supervisor, and he's also kind of a fuck up. Like he clearly like just isn't very good at like doing the things that he's supposed to be doing exactly. He just yells at them for being stupid and incompetent. Sav, maybe you can relate. And like drinks on the job. He's
wait, what? Who's
yeah? What side of the table I am on this?
You're on the one criticizing the other people for just being incompetent all the time.
Hey, to be clear, anytime I have those feelings or thoughts, that is all internal. Externally, I am very supportive and uplifting.
But you might.
I vent to my friends, but I want to be clear. When y'all hear me talk about stuff I'm frustrated about in life, y'all are hearing the inner monologue version. The version other people hear is much more polite.
I am never going to take your encouragement now. Never.
What?
It's like, this guy's telling me to keep going. You got this. You're great. He wants to put a knife in the back of my head.
I think that's leadership.
Well, you'll relate to Gary Oldman saying the intrusive thoughts out loud because you can't at your job.
Okay.
So you might like it actually.
All right.
But it turns out that these fuck ups have happened upon some sort of like aspect of a case, an ongoing case that other people don't really have access to or trying to cover up. And so they're trying to sort their way through it and solve the mystery and save one of the characters who's being held hostage. So it's pretty cool. It's like really interesting. The characters are like really rich, even though we haven't met all of them or known all of them yet deeply, just because we're still in the kind of the middle of the season. But what we've got so far has been really good. A lot of good humor. They're all British cast, and they bring their kind of humor to it. But there's also like this like conspiracy theory kind of aspect to it around the MI5 stuff and how people are angling for power and they're trying to get theirs and all this stuff and cover up their mistakes. So.
What's the case in this season again?
In the first season, it's a young man is taken hostage, and he's brown, he's Pakistani. They call it's also jarring here. In Britain they call them British Asians, and they're in their mind that usually means a South Asian person. Whereas like if somebody told me like Asian American, my first thought is like, oh, an East Asian looking person, and then I would think like, oh yeah, that also includes like South Asians, but I need to reframe myself around like, oh yeah, Asian America or Asians also include the subcontinent.
The world is vast.
Yeah.
The world is vast.
So that's it. They're trying to solve this. They're trying to save this guy that's being held hostage. And it's kind of by a right-wing nut job group called the Sons of Albion. And they're just like a white people first kind of organization. British people first. Native British people first.
Like every organization.
Yeah, it's a little white supremacy for sure. And which like obviously has echoes in current events, so it's also, you recognize it as the current world. It's good.
So I've seen the first handful of episodes also, and I will co-sign Wes's.
I got the award-winning director bump.
You don't have mine yet.
I haven't sold you on it?
No,
bro, you get to see this boss just be mean. Apple TV Plus.
I don't have that. No wonder. That's why we talked. Oh yeah, because we talked about this. We talked because didn't you talk about this in another episode? I feel like you talked about this show before.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, we brought it up when we were talking Echo, I think.
Yeah, it was like a Bad News Bears type group. Okay, yeah. Because I noticed it sounds familiar. I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't got Apple TV, so unless you got a login.
They're bad at their job. Oh yeah. All right, I got you.
Ooh, I thought you was gonna say some extra shit. I thought you was gonna be like, no, buy your own.
I mean, it is $6, so I mean,
I will not be nickel and dime to death by these people trying to bring back cable. I refuse.
All right. There's no ads if that sells you on it. I know you're a big believer in no ads.
I am a big believer in no ads. It's a pretty big deal. I might watch it on
All right, Brian.
God, everything has a subscription, right? Like,
everything.
I got Anna this alarm clock thing that's supposed to help her sleep also, right? Like it plays sleep sounds and
just
whatever.
Stop snoring. That's
there
all you got to do, Brian.
Well, I mean, that's a key part of it. In retaliation, she got me breath strips, like nasal strips to put on my nose while I sleep. Apparently it works.
I thought your breath was kicking. She was like, here, have some Listerine, bro.
Hey.
Oh, she's done that to me before also. So it's a combination of things.
Okay.
But even this clock that plays sleep sounds has a subscription that she paid for. And when I got it for her, I had no idea that was even a thing. And it was like you did what? You paid how much for the year for sounds?
The grift is real.
Good Lord.
You really did your research on that gift, huh? It was
there's a deadline when it comes to Christmas, all right?
Yeah.
All right, Brian, what are you loving this week?
So I am loving this show on Amazon Prime called LOL Canada. And before you roll your eyes and think that this is like the Emoji Movie Canada or something like that. No. This is a fantastic comedy reality show. And it's basically 10 comedians in a room for 6 hours. They're locked in a room for 6 hours, and the goal is to be the last one laughing. LOL, right? So they're actively trying to make each other laugh, but if you laugh, you're out. Right? Nice. So you want to be the last person. And the brilliance of the show is just watching people suppress their own laugh, right? See them wriggle and writhe and try not to break, which, is kind of the most hilarious thing. Like that's actually probably one of the best parts of watching live TV, Saturday Night Live in particular.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Fallon's gonna burst out laughing because it's too funny. Like that is such great stuff. And so basically this show does that all in one. And what's interesting is that LOL Canada, right? The reason why it's LOL Canada is because Amazon Prime has been making this show in every country in the world. There's like an LOL Mexico, LOL Australia, LOL Germany, but it actually all originates to a bonkers Japanese show called Documento, which I have watched also. I watched that years ago when I found out about it. And in the Japanese version, Documento, like it's very specific to their style of comedy. So as every episode progresses, it just goes way off the rails. Like suddenly guys are like walking around naked and like having people look in their butthole and like picking toilet paper out of their asses. And it's just outrageous.
And so a comedy. This is meant to be funny.
Could you imagine two guys in front of you like picking out toilet paper out of another guy's butthole and you're not trying to laugh at that scenario?
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I will choose not to. because I gained nothing from that.
Savon is really not impressed. He's like, I would check out.
You had me at the premise, but then when you went back to the roots, I was like, okay, well, I'm glad that we were able to grow away from those roots into not that.
Well, so that's kind of like the mad genius of the show, is that the reason why they do it in every country is because every country has their own culturally specific sense and taste of humor. But fortunately for the Canada version, it's close to ours. And so, like, let me tell you who actually shows up, who they enlisted for the Canada version of this show. They have Tom Green of, like, if you remember the Tom Green show, Freddie Got Fingered.
Did he do like shock value madness and stuff?
Yeah, he's almost like Sacha Baron Cohen, but without the persona. like he's not playing Borat, he's just playing Tom Green doing this ridiculous, outlandish stuff with a straight face and like committing 100%. Then you got Colin Mockery, who's the dude from Whose Line Is It Anyway? That looks like he's like shorter, pasty, older white guy with kind of like a flat voice.
And he's bald, right?
He's a little balding,
like Friar Tuck.
Yeah.
Wait, Colin what?
If you've ever watched Whose Line Is It Anywhere, like, you have seen this guy and know how funny he is. Colin Mockery. And then you got Caroline Rhea, who's from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I think she played the aunt in that or something. And then you got Dave Foley, who's one of the originators of the 90s
WWE?
sketch comedy show Kids in the Hall. And then you got like a bunch of other young talent that we haven't heard of in the US, but they're still nonetheless very funny. And so you throw them all into the room together, and you got Tom Green just like doing ridiculous stuff. Like in the first episode, for no reason, like, people are just milling about, talking, chatting. He just starts putting plastic poop in front of everybody, like just like placing it ever so delicately at the seat that they're sitting on. And it's just like
what is
Tom Green being weird.
Bewilderment.
The sound that I'm making?
Bewilderment, confusion,
Sav is
disappointment,
just
all of the
making
above.
Sex sounds in the middle.
That is not. Are you 8?
Show.
Are you 8?
Hey,
I think there's a wide world of sex sounds, I will say.
There's
as well.
There's the lady from Schitt's Creek in here, Graham Greene, who we talked about in Echo.
Who's Graham Greene?
He was the uncle that worked at the tchotchke shop.
Oh yeah, that's right. He makes a cameo in this.
Paul's son Hyun Lee, who is
he's dude in Star Wars. Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, in Kim's
Convenience. In this. Andrew Fung or whatever. He does some ridiculous stuff.
I don't know Andrew Fung. All right, cool.
I've never seen Kim's Convenience, but he's the dude from Kim's Convenience.
Okay.
So
he plays the cousin.
It's a good time.
He plays the cousin.
And so basically, like, if they smile, right, what happens is, if they smile and like there's a judge who's watching, the judge is he's the guy from This Is the End, that movie with Seth Rogen. He's like one of the dudes in that. Anyway, so like if he catches you, he's like watching, he's got all these monitors. He's like Watchmen's Ozymandias, like watching all these monitors of what's going on in the room. If he catches you like cracking a smile, he's going to give you a yellow card. And then if it happens the second time, you get a red card and you're out.
Basically. Or if you break totally and you laugh, you're out. Or that's also a yellow card.
Yeah, I think that's also a yellow card.
So you get 2 shots.
So you got 2 shots. And then they're also keeping track of like who got whom, right? So like Tom Green has his kill list, Colin Mockery's got his kill list. And that helps whittle down the field towards the end of the game. And then you see them, like, it kind of becomes a competition. They really try to ratchet it up and get more kills towards the end of it because they're trying to win. The prize in this specific version of LOL is $100,000 to the charity of their choice.
Charity.
And so Dave Foley makes some hilarious jokes about like, oh, his charity is the Stop the Steal campaign. So like, don't let that guy win. Yeah, it's a great time. I think it's like 4 or 5 episodes, like 30 to 50 minutes each. It's good stuff for like a nice like decompressing weekend. And one of the fun things that Anna and me have been doing is trying to figure out, okay, if they finally brought this show to the US, who would they put in a room together and them go bonkers at each other and try to make each other laugh? Like that's an exciting.
I feel like you would do some of the late night hosts.
I think you got to do Fallon in there just because he's so famous for
not being able to hold together.
Yeah,
I feel like you need Steve Carell. If you could get Steve Carell in there.
Yeah, if you get Steve Carell and Will Ferrell together, that would be incredible. I'm also thinking you want to throw in like Kevin Hart,
yes,
as just like this wild energy. There are a lot of Kate McKinnon will also be great.
Cat Williams.
Oh my goodness. Cat Williams.
Give me the. I think I just need the American version of this. Although the Canadian version sounds good too.
I feel like Eddie Murphy wouldn't be good on it anymore, but I don't know, maybe.
I actually think he'd be great. Like
so?
If you saw him in that, he hosted Saturday Night Live like in the last, I want to say 3 to 4 years. That episode is just wall to wall hilarious because he just reprises all his old characters. If you could get him in that room, like I think the prize would have to be like $100 million for Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, he'd need a lot there.
I'd pay to watch that.
Yeah, it'd be good. I feel like
Amazon Prime, make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should just put all the Kings of Comedy and Cat Williams in one episode and see what happens. That would be fireworks.
Yeah, you're just describing the movie Life, basically.
All right, friends. I think that's going to wrap us up. Don't forget, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is coming in the next episode or maybe the one after that. I believe it comes out February 22nd, I think is what I wrote down. So if you're trying to stay with us, try to give you that preview ahead of time. We're trying to be more professional, more planned, so that you can make some plans so that you don't have to put our show off. Oh, I lied. It's coming out February 2nd. So that'll be out by the time this episode comes out.
Hey, let's be clear, Wes. You didn't lie. You were wrong.
I was wrong. Confidently, though. I was confidently wrong.
True to form.
Yeah. I was just branding.
Everybody do your homework.
It's just branding. All right, friends. Have a good one. Hit us up on Instagram. We're trying to do more on the gram. So interact with us. Answer the questions. Let us know your thoughts, your feelings.
And remember, listeners, most of y'all also aren't liars. You're just wrong. And that's okay.
Hit us up at confidently_pod. Friends, we're out of here. Talk to you later. Bye.